Hello, this is for Sunday the 3rd of October, and as you can see, it's Harvest Festival, and we're collecting for the food bank as usual, so do please bring your stuff. The church is always open during daylight hours. Bring it along and leave it at the top, or bring it down here. And we've got a scarecrow competition tomorrow at the family service, our Harvest Festival. Do come along, 11 o'clock on Sunday. And the main passage is the famous words of Jesus from the Sermon on the Mount. Look at the birds of the air, they neither toil nor spin, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. And look at the flowers of the fields. And even King Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. And those words about, do not worry about what you will eat or what you'll drink or what you'll wear, because you know your heavenly Father knows you need these things. Well, do not worry. We've had quite a lot to worry about over the last 18 months. And we are very much in an age of anxiety, though you could say that phrase is an old one. It dates from the 1940s, actually. We're certainly in an age of uncertainty as restrictions have been lifted. But it's a challenging passage anyway for us, because if anything typifies our current age, it's an age of acquisition and accumulation. We all have an awful lot of stuff, especially things we might think are valuable. Think of the popularity of things like the Antiques Roadshow or Treasure in the Attic. When I arrived in Witham, in Kelvedon, nearly 8 years ago, I had 50 boxes of books in the middle of my study, and I made a vow then I would never move with so many again. And I've got to keep that vow. We like to think that our goods, the things we have, our stuff, will protect us rather than we put it around us like a fort. But of course it doesn't. The floods in Germany, the floods over here not so long ago, the wildfires fires in Australia, and the extreme heat in the United States and Canada are constant reminders that the world is changing and that we human beings need to change. It's the Climate Change Conference, COP26, next month in Glasgow. And we may say, well, it's up to governments to make the major changes in emissions, and that's quite right, it is. Particularly governments in the developing world, because we're the ones who put out the most emissions, while it's the developing world that suffers the worst aspects of climate change. But there are things that we can do ourselves. For a start, we can just stop and appreciate God's creation, nature around us. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare, said the poet W.H. Davies. And do we ever look at the birds of the air or the flowers of the field? And actually look at them, really look, not just a passing glance, and see their beauty and their intricacy and their wonder. And we must really try to reduce, recycle and reuse. Even locally, that matters. To end with a short story, not from the Bible, about starfish. A man was walking along a beach one day, and the beach was covered with starfish, thousands of them, which the sea had thrown up. And they were all, of course, going to die unless they were thrown back. And a few yards away, he saw a little girl gradually picking one up each time and throwing it into the sea. He went up to her and said, look, you can't help to make any real difference here. There are thousands of them. And she just looked at him and said, I can make a difference to this one, and this one, and this one. And in our own way, so can we. Have a good harvest.